And by the end of the checkpoints, we have an exclusive interview for you with the general manager of VEON Group. Our reporter, Salome Metzvarishvili, who has main beat with communication and again, worth to mention once more, Salome Metzvarishvili. She talked to Kaan Terzioglu.
Georgia for us is the lab for new ideas, for new technologies. This is the quote and the general manager's vision of our country that I liked from Salome's interview. We have to say here that during his visit to Georgia, Beeline has signed an agreement with Nokia that is worth $10 million US. This makes Georgia the first country among the VEON group where this newest technology will be implemented.
That's how investments come to Georgia when I'm in Monaco. And even further, this means that the access to 4G internet will improve in this country, and the basic for 5G internet will be paved. And I think we have to also mention here that unlike the Communications Commission of Georgia, VEON Group believes that the mobile market in Georgia is competitive enough and healthy.
For more, here is our exclusive interview with Kaan Terzioglu, VEON Group Co-Chief Executive Officer.
So first of all, thank you for taking our questions. I'm really happy to represent today Forbes Georgia and BMG, and it's a great honor for me to have an interview with the General Manager of VEON, which is one of the most special players in telecommunication services. So let's start. Let's begin. Mr. Terzioglu, what is the purpose of your visit in Georgia? As I know, you are signing the agreement with Nokia. So tell us more about this partnership.
Sure. Georgia is a very special operation among our 9 countries around the world. We serve about 11% of world's population in 9 countries. But Georgia is special, as always, because it is representing one of the most innovative operations that we have, embracing digital solutions and also 5G infrastructure. The reason I'm here today, actually we have committed to deploying infrastructure for Georgia, which will be ready for 5G, but it will be initially used for bringing 4G for every single person in the country. We are doubling actually our capacity to reach out to a potential almost 3 million subscribers. So it tells you about our ambitions in the country.
It's great news. And when are you going to do this?
We will start deploying it with our partner Nokia. And I hope that over the next 6 months we will start seeing the impacts of it in terms of increased capacity and also capabilities.
Yes, VEON today is the company which unites 212 million customers around 9 countries, including Georgia. It's really interesting. What is a part of our country in this big group?
Well, it's not actually an issue about the size or the population or the number of subscribers. It's about the innovation and the things that we see in Georgia that we can actually deploy and pioneer new solutions. And that's why we believe Georgia for us is like a laboratory for new ideas and new technologies. Actually, Georgia is the first country that we will be deploying a complete Western infrastructure which is in compliance with also Georgian government's guidance about security and the future sustainability of the networks.
It's great. Here in Georgia, we have 3 big mobile network operators, and one of them is VEON, Georgia and Beeline. And according to the official statistics, your market share by subscribers is 26%. And this number is growing from year to year. So how do you evaluate Beeline's operation in Georgia, and what is your aim? Do you prefer to have a niche and attract special groups, for example, young people or etc., or you want to become a larger scale company?
Look, first of all, I always say this, I'm privileged to be a member of mobile industry. And all the players in Georgia has, over the last 18 months, done phenomenal job in terms of sustaining the connectivity in the country during the pandemic era. And as you have seen, the importance of mobile infrastructure has even become more critical during the times that we couldn't go to offices, the children couldn't go to the schools. And it is really essential for the industry to work together and to bring the latest capabilities to the widest amount of population as soon as possible. So that's why when I look to a country now, I first prioritize the industry's health on top of everything else. Of course, we have big ambitions. 26% market share is a good starting point for us. But it is not only about the number of subscribers, it's what we will do about the economy in Georgia.
Of course.
Because the smartphones today are not anymore a luxury. It's an essential item for people to get jobs, for people, children to get education, for healthcare services to be provided at lower costs, and new industries to flourish, like agriculture. And I truly believe that we will see our company as well much more active, working hand in hand also with the government to deploy these technologies to make Georgia more competitive and to create jobs for the Georgian people, and also most importantly to make education available for every single person. So we have our eyes on the transformation of the industries in Georgia. So from one side, of course, we're going to be providing consumers with the most advanced digital services and applications, and you're going to see our company move from being a traditional telecom company to a digital operator. We actually will not be in this market to just sell number of minutes, number of SMSs, number of gigabytes, but to provide Georgian people the best digital applications, from entertainment to education to healthcare, and to make sure that we are their life partners in their day-to-day lives, day-to-day works, and all the things that the government can provide to the citizens.
It's really interesting statement. Can you tell more about these plans?
Look, maybe I start with saying that what is changing in the world. In the old days, it was all about oil, right, and gold, basically physical resources. When you share physical resources, you diminish the value because it is less and less available for more people. Today's oil is data. And data is the only thing in the world when the value grows by sharing it. And it is really important for every country to get hold of their data as a natural resource and to make sure that their own engineers work with that data to create the digital solutions. Solutions it can be from games to entertainment, but it is also transformational solutions for industries. I have seen some groundbreaking examples in Georgia in terms of Georgian engineers actually converting that raw data into beautiful applications that engages people and helps industries to flourish. So you will see us getting more active in this particular area where we're going to be investing in application development in the country as well.
Great. As I mentioned earlier, here in Georgia we have 3 big mobile operators, and in the last 2020 report the Communication Commission says that he sees some limits in this market which is connected to competition. And they say that Beeline, for example, has lower prices but it has lower market share too. So do you agree with this opinion, and do you see any issues which is connected to competition in Georgia?
Look, certain industries have different competitive dynamics. I think the big infrastructure businesses like ours, also like electricity, like transportation, it doesn't necessarily make it better when you have more players. On the contrary, I actually shared my opinions with Minister of Economy and Sustainability yesterday as well. Sharing infrastructure among the players is a must for a country like Georgia. You know, when you build a highway from city A to city B, you don't build 2 highways, you build 1 highway. Same thing for railroads, same thing for airports. And the infrastructure, the towers, the fiber, actually these assets should be effectively shared to flourish competition. And I believe, we have some room to go in Georgia in terms of sharing infrastructure that will make all the players being able to invest faster in making sure that everybody gets access to internet and mobile internet specifically. If you compare Georgian internet in terms of cost aspects, actually Georgia is one of the leading countries in terms of low-cost mobile internet, and it shows that there is a healthy dynamics in the market. But we should not only think about raw data we should really think about access to digital applications. And I think the real competitiveness and innovation will come from these companies investing in entrepreneurial capabilities of Georgia to develop more innovative applications in all the industries and all the areas that people actually today consume internet in.
So we don't see any kind of issues in this regard?
I think it's a very healthy market, and one could even argue that 3 operators in a country of 3 million people is too much, because that's why the sharing of infrastructure is critical. I would ideally see actually one infrastructure, and on top of that, flourishing innovative companies to serve on the services side.
Also, I remember the statement of the head of the Communication Commission about 2 years ago. He said that Beeline wanted to leave the Georgian market. The next day he clarified that he was talking about just selling the part of the shares of the company. So it's really interesting. Have you ever wanted to sell the shares of the company, or have you ever planned to leave the Georgian market, and why?
Look, I think it's more important to look to actions than to talk about what is being said or heard. I think today's signing ceremony with Nokia shows our intentions and our purpose, regardless of who owns what. The purpose of being in the country is the main driver. We see Georgia as a country where we innovate, we create R&D resources, and I see ourselves actually investing in the resources to make sure that we serve Georgian citizens the best way we can, and you will see us continuing doing that, and you will judge us with our actions.
Okay, you mentioned that Georgian market is healthy, but I want to ask you generally, how do you evaluate Georgian market? Do you see any issues or problems here? What's your assessment?
Look, I'll be honest with you. During the pandemic, the worst impact we have observed in terms of business results around the world in our 9 countries, including from Pakistan to Bangladesh to Russia to Algeria, in terms of business performance, was Georgia. And the reason is very simple. Georgian economy is very dependent on tourism, people traveling in. Although maybe from a disease perspective it was not seriously impacted, just because the world travel stopped and people were not able to come and visit this beautiful country, we have seen significant drops in terms of activity levels. On the other side, now as the world gets vaccinated, I see that the first destination everybody wants to go in our countries is Georgia. And we see actually a pickup of the economy. And I believe the recovery in Georgian economy will be very fast, and we already see those hints in our business activity levels as well. And therefore I actually see that Georgia will be very fast back on economic growth as well. Having said that, I think it is important that Georgia focuses on some critical industries, agriculture being one of them. And everybody might see that agriculture is a very traditional industry. I think the most advanced technologies will be utilized in agricultural activities. And that's an area I believe Georgia has a unique opportunity to invest, and of course we will be very much excited to support the government's also investments in that area. I always consider Georgian economy in terms of like a jewel in a very complex area, a geopolitical area, and I think Georgia has done really remarkable job over the years to make sure that its competitiveness is growing. And I think as an international investor, we feel very confident and comfortable in Georgia.
It's great to hear. And the pandemic showed us the importance of the internet, the communication, and so on. The world is working on the creation of 5G. What's your plans in this direction globally and in Georgia?
Sure. I think the pandemic has actually reset some priorities. Today, when I speak with all the governments, about 2 years ago, everybody was talking about how fast can we deploy 5G.
Yeah.
Today, the priority is really how fast we can bring 4G, high-quality 4G to everybody in the country, including rural areas. And I think we have a responsibility to deliver on that. Of course, 5G has certain technological advantages that we have to even realize in the 4G world as well. And that's exactly what we are doing in Georgia. We are deploying a core infrastructure which is ready for 5G, but our priority will be to make sure that it is available to everyone. So I say, rather than 5G for few, 4G for all will be our #1 priority.
Okay, and all over the world there are a lot of myths about 5G and about the internet generally. And I heard that some people believe that COVID-19 is spread by 5G. So let's talk about the benefits of 4G and 5G, of course.
Look, mobile internet and 4G brought people together, connected people together. 5G is taking the connections beyond individuals to machinery, to Internet of Things. And we will be talking about not connecting millions of people, we will be talking about connecting billions of devices, including sensors, including robots, including drones. And all these technologies will bring a completely different level of productivity to the industries. And we will see that, having an impact on healthcare industry with telemedicine type of capabilities. We will see this impact in agriculture industry in terms of better education for farmers, but also more automated processes to increase production of agricultural output. We're going to see it in transportation, we're going to see it in safety and security, and we're going to see it in education as well. I think what pandemic did, it accelerated these opportunities by at least a decade. Because in the old days, when we talked about a smartphone and mobile internet, many people immediately associated it with games and videos and entertainment. But today we know that without the smartphones, we were not able to, participate in economic activities. Our children would have not been attending classes. Maybe our doctors would have more difficulty in serving, the great, need for healthcare services. So now, actually, mobile internet is becoming really part of our lives, part of the livelihood of communities and businesses. And that's where we have to focus on.
But we should mention that 5G infrastructure costs expensive.
5G, of course, every investment is requiring significant resources. However, 5G also brings some incredible cost savings and efficiencies as well. And what we do today, there are 3 important technological advantages that 5G brings. And these are basically technologies about carrier aggregation, which allows us to create more output from the available spectrum. It's about virtualization of the core network, which means that we can actually achieve much more with less investments. And also, the ability to use new type of antennas, which are much more powerful. And all these technological advantages can actually be also used for 4G deployment. And I see actually this as a very accretive development of our industry. We're going to use the best technologies, best infrastructure, but the first target will be to reach out to every single person, rather than to create new capabilities that can be utilized only a portion of the population.
How do you think, what is the next step? What will come after 5G? Just 6G or something?
Well, 6G is already being discussed, and as we move into, let's say, extraterrestrial networks, meaning that, today our networks are based on, Earth-based networking capabilities like towers, base stations. Probably with the development of 6G, we're going to see more of satellites being used in our infrastructures. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing as more satellites will be placed around the world. And to cover the entire world, you need 1,440 satellites working together. And we actually see lots of investments in that area, and that's going to bring, of course, new capabilities to our industry.
Thank you for interesting answers, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.